Good evening, Garden City. I'd like to call to order a regular scheduled council meeting for Monday, October 22nd at 7 p.m. Our first order of business is our opening ceremony, which consists of the national anthem, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence for those service members that have given their lives while defending our country. Would everybody please stand? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Deputy Clerk Masty, can you take the roll, please?
Mayor Walker.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Jacobs.
Here.
Councilmember Lynch. Here. Councilmember Squires.
Here.
Councilmember Earl.
Here.
Councilmember McCarge. Here. Councilmember Kerwin.
Here.
Before we get started, I just want to say it's great to be a Michigan Wolverine. Okay, we'll move on now, but I got that out of the way. When you're mayor, you can do anything. Somewhat. Okay, item 4, approval of the agenda.
Mayor?
Councilmember Lynch.
I move for the approval of the revised agenda for Monday, October 22nd, 2018 at 7 p.m. with the addition of the agenda item 10B8.
Support.
Support from Councilmember Squires. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, hearing none, that passes 7-0. Okay, at this time, we're going to have recognition. If I can have Miss Allison Bettis up at the podium, please. Allison, how you doing? Miss Bettis recently retired, and we want to honor her. So we read. Resolution honoring Allison M. Bettis on her retirement. Whereas Allison M. Bettis was hired as a city clerk treasurer of Garden City, Michigan in March of 1998. And whereas Allison retired on September 21st, 2018, after 20 and a half years of outstanding and meritorious service to the city of Garden City. And whereas Allison has performed her duties throughout her service in a conscientious and responsible manner, whereas Allison has consistently responded with ingenuity, imagination, and foresight to the duties and responsibilities given to her, fulfilling them with outstanding accuracy and competency, and whereas Allison was a driving force in keeping the city of Garden City solvent during a great time of crisis. And whereas in recognition of Allison's outstanding leadership skills and proven professionalism, and whereas throughout her over 2 decades of service, Allison has served the people of this city with dedication. Now therefore be it resolved that the members of the City Council of Garden City, on behalf of all of our citizens, do hereby present the resolution of recognition to Allison Bettis with our sincere and grateful appreciation for her dedicated service to the city of Garden City, our congratulations on her well-earned retirement, and best wishes to her for continued success, happiness, and good health in the years to come. adopted on this 22nd day of October 2018 by the City Council of Garden City. God bless you. Let's go over here and take a photo up. Someone else should say a few.
Never seen you nervous before. I probably made a mistake. No, it's the Wolverine.
You look like Michigan State. You look like Michigan State on that fumble. I just want to say a few things. She was here during the worst recession in Garden City's 80-something year history, and she kept Garden City solvent. She took care of the elections, taxes. I mean, on top of it, the budget every year. We never came close to having an emergency manager in our city, so she deserves total respect for that. You want to come say a few words to people? We'll drop it again.
It's heavy. You rigged it, didn't you? Thank you, for real. As most of you know, I love this city. I love my job here, and I'm going to miss it. And I want to thank you all for all the love and support that I've gotten over the years. And I want to say two things. One, to my fellow department heads and coworkers and colleagues, you guys are awesome. And today is a night for saying what I did, but I know you know we did this all together. And thank God for all of you, because you contribute so well to this city. And I just want them to know how hard you work and how much you do and how well I appreciated working with you. To my crew, the clerk treasurer's office and administration and building, I know you guys don't get a lot of kudos, but you are super bad. I know how hard you work. I am so proud of you. You make me look good, and I think that this city owes you a giant thank you, and I'm just going to say it on their behalf. I love my crew. They work so diligently for us, and I appreciate them very much. On behalf of the mayor, I do want to say that I was really happy that the Wolverines won, because for 7 of the last 10 years, it's been really kind of pitiful. So I was happy for it. Thank you. And I love you guys.
And we got a gift for your drive home. You can take this home with you.
Holy mackerel. This isn't the stuff for my desk, is it?
No.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.
What's that? Oh, Glenn Anderson wants to. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I always forget.
Mayor, I think I was cheering for the other side on Saturday, so, but I'll get over it.
Your time's up.
I spent a lot of money there through my son's tuition, but I wanted to also recognize you, Allison. When I heard you were leaving, I just thought to myself, who could they ever get to replace Allison? Of all the communities that I represented over the years, whether it was in the Senate or whether it was in the House or City Council or now County Commission, I've never seen a better run department. And I know, as you mentioned, there are people behind the scenes, faces that a lot of us don't see very often, that are help get you through every election, every crisis that comes up. There's people behind you that help you and that helped you, but there's always got to be a captain of the team. But anyway, you really pulled everything together every election. We could always count on when we're calling to get results. If anyone has the results early, it's going to be Allison. It's going to be the Garden City Clerk's office. And another thing I wanted to share with everyone, last year when the Kroger store closed down at Ford Road in Middle Belt, we came up with an idea of trying to offset the cost for the seniors and for their bus fare, because they couldn't just walk to the store anymore and take their buggy. They had to take Nankin Transit, and it was $3 for a round trip. And Allison stepped up when I said, if we raised the money, and there was some civic groups, community groups that pitched in to help offset the cost for the seniors. So now their cost is half of what it was before. But Allison stepped up right away, and she says, I'll take care of the bookkeeping. She says, I'll take care of selling the tickets, or basically helping those seniors, and that it just goes to the kind of person that she is. And she was very dedicated to this community and very dedicated to the people that live here. But Allison, I wanted to give you something from the Wayne County Commission, and just to let you know how much I appreciate you, and I hope you don't mind if I give you a hug.
I insist.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Next, I want to call up ORIN from ORIN Jewelers, and his sister Joyce, your wife. Come on up. ORIN Jewelers has been a business in our city for 85 years, and we want to honor them tonight. So, resolution of recognition adopted by the City Council, City of Garden City on October 22nd, 2018, honoring ORIN Jewelers, whereas this year marks the 85th anniversary of ORIN Jewelers in our city, established by its founder, Orrin Mazzoni, in 1933, and whereas ORIN Jewelers has been a fixture at the corner of Ford and Middle Belt in the heart of our downtown, and whereas ORIN Jewelers has always encouraged its leaders and employees to take an active part in civic affairs and has supported community projects and organizations. And whereas ORIN Jewelers serve the Garden City community and surrounding area with integrity and distinction. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the City Council of Garden City congratulates ORIN Jewelers for 85 years of business and for many contributions and services to our community, with our best wishes for many years of continued success in the future. God bless you. We love having you in our city. I'm also a customer. My wife's a customer. You have a great business. You always come forth for the city. You donate several times a year to all different organizations, and we just love having you in our city. And we'd love to do a photo op over here with you guys, and if you'd like to say a few words.
Okay.
Go ahead. Say
a couple words. So just to put the U of M in perspective, over the years people have asked me, well, where'd you graduate from college? And I say U of M. And they'd say Ann Arbor or Dearborn. And I'd say Garden City. And they'd say, Garden City, they have a branch in Garden City? I said, yeah, University of Mazzoni. So that was my dad's university. So anyway, you know, I grew up in Garden City. When my dad opened his first store here, we've actually been in Garden City for 55 years. My dad started in 1933, and then we moved here in 53, excuse me. And we lived right above our store. Most of the people in here are way too young to remember those days, but we had there was some old frame buildings on the south. You remember? Okay, good. The southwest side of the corner, and so we lived there for about 12 years, and you know, we grew up right downtown, so you know that was our playground, and you know, we graduated from Garden City High School. I still come to work here every day, and you know, it's a great community. It was a great community to grow up in. It's a great community today. It's nice to see so many, you know, young people moving into town and seeing that change over. You know, we attend a lot of functions in different parts of the state, and I always hear, especially the last 8, 9, 10 years since we've had a renovation downtown, people say, wow, I drove through Garden City. It really is looking good. And so, you know, I've always been proud of it. When somebody asks me where I'm from, even though that I live in Northville the last several years, I always say Garden City because that's where my heart's always been. So for all of you that have supported us over the years, we thank you very much. This was the place to be growing up, and we're glad to still be here. So thank you very much. Okay, sure.
So you're not 85 years old?
I just had a facelift, so you know.
Many more years of success. We love seeing you for that.
That's one thing.
Okay.
Just so you all know, Fred May is as old as I am. He was my tennis partner in high school.
Okay, at this time, Clerk Massey, will you swear in firefighter Brian FINNEREN as our new fire marshal?
And repeat after me. I, Brian FINNEREN, having been duly appointed Fire Marshal of the Garden City Fire Department, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America, the Constitution of the State of Michigan, the Charter of the City of Garden City, that I will endeavor to secure and maintain an honest and efficient administration of the office, free from partisan distinction or control, and perform the duties of said office to the best of my ability. So help me God.
Brian's right, come up. You're part of the family. Congratulations. It's great to see all your firefighters here to support you. Okay, moving on. Community events. I'm going to call up Monica Fulton, our Community Resource Director.
Thank you. Everybody's leaving. I'd like to first start by adding a last-minute addition to my announcements. Tomorrow, the Senior Center is going on their bus trip to Lansing for the Princess Boat River Cruise. Because of the parking situation at Maplewood, we have relocated the bus pickup spot, and the seniors will now be meeting at Garden City Park in the parking lot in front of the ice arena. The buses will pick them up there. They'll begin loading at 8:30. We did reach out to every senior on the list. However, there were a few numbers that have been disconnected, and some seniors did not leave a phone number. So I'm encouraging everyone, if you know someone going on that bus trip, to spread the word that they will be meeting not at Maplewood Center, but at the ice arena parking lot at City Park at the corner of Cherry Hill and Merriman. But we will also be on hand at between 8 and 8:30 to direct anybody that accidentally shows up at Maplewood. So. My next announcement, we are again partnering with the 4-H program at Maplewood Center for 2 holiday make and take workshops. So these are going to be great little holiday gifts that families can make. Saturday, November 10th and Monday, December 3rd. There's 2 different workshops, 2 different make and takes. It is geared towards children ages 5 to 12, but whole families are invited to come. That's not a problem. It's $1 per child. If they're already involved in the 4-H program as a member, this event would be free for them. You do need to register, so we make sure and have enough materials on hand, but you can register by calling Maplewood Center at 793-1850. My last announcement is my most exciting announcement, and the Garden City Fitness Court is almost complete. I gotta really give a big shout out to DPS for getting this together so quickly. We are going to have our official launch and ribbon cutting ceremony a week from today over right at the fitness court at 4:30 on Monday, October 29th. And we'll have a ribbon cutting, and we'll have the opportunity for people to try out the fitness court. We'll have ambassadors on hand from local gyms and the Parks and Rec Department to show people how to use the fitness court, and they'll be able to run a 7-minute circuit, no problem. So the whole community is invited. I encourage everybody to come out and check it out. And I'm hoping also that people will want to participate in the 3-minute challenge to determine who's the fittest in Garden City. I put a challenge out to our police and fire department, so maybe we'll have some exciting action taking place on Monday, October 29th at the ribbon cutting. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, I'm going to call up our DDA Director, Kim Dole.
Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to take a quick moment to say thank you to all of our residents, all of our judges, anybody and everybody that had something to do with our chili cook-off last weekend. It was a phenomenal success. We were able to raise more money this year than we've ever raised, and that will go towards helping actually 7 different charities here in Garden City this year. We'll have some figures at the next meeting. But everybody that was there had a great time. We actually made over $10,000 just in chili tickets, and those tickets cost $1 a piece. So, yeah, it was quite a day, and the weather held out for us. And while I'm up here, I wanted to mention really quick, though, a reminder about Trunk or Treat this Thursday. It's from 5:30 to 7 over in the northeast corner of Middle Belt and Ford. Everyone's welcome for that, and if you haven't signed up, you can sign up to have your trunk there. And last but not least, the Goodfellows hotline is open. And if you know anyone that needs any help for Christmas for their kids, tell them to give a call to the hotline. The number is 734-679-7838, and they'll be instructed as to what information to leave. Thank you. Oh, and I do apologize to the judges that I did not have any Tums on hand for all of you, but it's on the checklist for next year.
Thank you, Ms. Dole. Okay, we'll move to comments from state and county officials. Mr. Anderson was already here and left. I don't think anybody's here from the state. So we'll move on. We have no petitions or communications. At this time, I'm going to open up the public hearing for street lighting. Anybody wishing to speak on street lighting, come up to the podium. You have 3 minutes. Again, this is your opportunity to make a comment or a statement. It's not to go back and forth with council members. If you have any questions, you can give them to the clerk here and we'll get them answered, or we may answer them later on our roundtable if we know the answers right here. So anybody wishing to speak on street lighting?
Yeah, I see the price of lights are going up. Money that bad. I just pay my taxes in June, my taxes. So I'm going me got what you got now. You guys, money hungry.
Thank you, Mr. Tobacco. Anybody else on street lighting?
I'm David Bryant from Manor Park Drive, and we've been assessed this $30.89 for the last 5 years. We have absolutely no streetlights on Manor Park Drive, and I don't understand why we don't have at least one in the middle of the street. Okay?
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Okay. Oh, you coming up, sir?
My name is Leo Heinz. I'm at 138 Cardwell Street. And when I first attended the first meetings of this street lighting, we had an intense discussion about improved and unimproved properties. And it was decided at that meeting that an unimproved property receives just as much benefit from street lighting as an improved property. Now, when I received this notice, the word improved it ruffled my feathers. So I went up to City Hall today and found out how many unimproved parcels Garden City has. We have a total of roughly 450 parcels. And if you multiply that by $30.89, it comes roughly to $14,000. Now, I want to know why those unimproved parcels aren't getting the benefit of street lighting as an improved parcel. Can somebody explain to me that? They're getting just as much benefit as we are. Okay?
Okay.
So where does this go from here? You're just going to whitewash it and still continue to do this? Charge only the improved lots? Somebody's getting paid off here. And I don't like this.
Nobody's getting paid off, and we'll answer, later in the meeting, we'll answer your questions.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else on streetlights? Okay, we're going to close the streetlight public hearing. At this time, I'm going to open the Community Development Block Grant public hearing. Anybody wishing to speak on Community Development Block Grant? Okay, seeing none, we'll close that. This time, we'll move on to item 10, consent agenda.
Mayor?
Councilmember Lynch.
I move for the approval of the consent agenda items 10A, 1, 2, and 3 and 4.
Support. Support from Councilmember Earl. Any comments from the table? From the general public? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes 7-0. Move on to our action items. Item 1, special assessment street lighting.
Mayor,
Councilmember Jacobs.
I move to receive, note, and file the
Nope.
wrong one. Move to approve the following resolution confirming the street lighting special assessment role.
Support.
Support from Councilmember McCarge. Discussion from the table. Mr. Doherty.
Yes, I welcome the resident's concern. He had come to City Hall. We did a little research, and he is correct. There's about 449 parcels, residential, or 309 commercial, 138 parcels that don't have any kind of structure on them. And it is a question, would be about $14,000, which, going by the other properties we have, would be a reduction of $1 approximately or so per the other properties. So although the 14,000 sounds large, it's also when you look at all the other residents, you're looking at going from 3089 down to 29 something or so. So it's not a drastic change overall with the other residents, but it's something I guess that's been in place since the beginning. The question is, does an unimproved property, just a vacant lot, get the same benefit as someone that has a full property and a family in a home? So that's, I guess, a decision was made years ago by former council to not count that as a full benefit. I'm not sure, as the gentleman, I wasn't here at the time, so I'm not sure what the discussions were at that time. As he mentioned, heated discussion. It's a council discussion at this point. Is that something that we should be charging? It's up to the council themselves. $30.89 for a vacant lot. If a resident owns a lot with a house on it and they own the lot next door, which really becomes a side yard for many homes, they are already paying a $30.89 per year for their house. Should they pay $30.89 for the yard next door? It technically is another parcel, but to the homeowners, it's just their side yard. Is there more street lighting benefit to that home or not as much? Or it's up for discussion for the council, but that's just generally the overview.
I remember when we did that, and to my recollection, and those of you who are here, Ms. Lynch, you can, I think our thinking was a family, the residents living in a home, benefit when they walk out the door and they walk up down the streets, they benefit from the street light. A vacant lot's a vacant lot, nobody lives there, so why tax them? So I believe that was the reasoning behind it, because there was no building, just a vacant lot. So.
And also the fact that if it is a property adjacent to another house and it's owned by the same property owner, we didn't want to charge twice as much to that person as we would to somebody else.
It's like making somebody that has a bigger yard pay more.
Mm-hmm.
Just like we used to do the trash.
Right.
It was done by according to the value of your house. Now everybody pays the same. Mm-hmm. Because why make somebody with a bigger house pay more for trash pickup than a smaller? So that was our thinking, and that's why it's been that way. Everybody may not like the answer, but that was the thinking behind it when we did it. Mm-hmm. Any other comments from the general public?
I thank you guys. Well, the tax you have now. I just pay my summer tax. Dude, why are you doing this, guy? You need money that bad? You need money that bad? You can't live in a house. What's the street light? Is that regular street light?
The street lights up and down all the streets in the city, yes.
Why out the tax? You need money that bad? You need money that bad? You can't live on it. Thank you, Mr. Manager. Thank you, sir. But you're spending money right in there, huh? You haven't raised it all, not what at all. And you guys do it. We just sit by and look. The street man, he's not feeling okay. He must be tired.
Thank you, Mr. Bacco. Anybody else?
I would like to, Mayor, find out about the Mr. David that spoke about Manor Park Drive and just look into that. I wasn't aware of the situation.
Well,
so
we need to look into that. And
the road's not having the lights. We'll look into that.
What is the total budget for street lighting in Garden City?
I believe it's short of 400,000.
I think it's short of 500,000. I thought it was like 470, 480.
No, it'd be the 11,000 properties times $30 a piece. So in the 350 range, I believe, 360.
But are you forgetting the 700 businesses?
Well, it's by properties. I received this from the tax assessors at the end of the day. 11,344 properties.
I'm pretty sure it's high.
We take up part of it too, don't we?
Yeah, I think it's,
Yeah, it's more than that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just under 500,000. I'm almost
The
positive.
budget number. That's how much we would bring
Yeah.
in, but I believe the city picks up part of it also.
The city
in the
pays
budget number.
too, but it's,
We're covering the difference?
yeah.
Okay. So maybe a little more. Yep.
Anybody else? Ms. Masti, all in favor? I'm sorry, you want to call the roll on that one?
Councilmember Jacobs?
Aye.
Councilmember McCarge?
Aye.
Councilmember Kerwin?
Aye.
Councilmember Earl?
Aye.
Councilmember Squires?
Aye.
Councilmember Lynch?
Aye.
Mayor Walker?
Aye. Motion passes 7-0. Item 2, Community Development Block Grant Transfer of Program Year 2017 Funds.
Mayor,
Councilmember Squires.
I move to adopt a resolution to create a new project, replacement of the boiler and radiant heat at the Garden City Fire Station, and request the reprogramming of $55,000 in program year 2017 CDBG funds to fund the project.
Support.
Support from Councilmember Lynch. This is going to be paid for by grant money. This does not cost the city anything. We're getting a new boiler with grant money. Any comments?
Mayor,
Councilmember McCarge.
I just would like to thank Patrick Sloan for staying on top of this. The county who runs the CDBG program have kind of changed some of the rules, procedures, whatever, and Patrick has stayed right on top of it. Garden City, I think we've been very fortunate. We've been using a lot of our CDBG monies to make repairs to low-income homes, but that process takes sometimes so long that we would get into trouble if we waited until we knew for sure that the money was going to be used for housing. So taking this and making the repairs to the fire department under the CDBG rules, it's a good use of our money, and yet our goal is for low-income people in this city who need housing repairs done, contact the city. You may be eligible for windows, roofing, but there's certain guidelines that you have to follow. It's an excellent program to help you stay in your home.
Any other comments from the table? From the general public? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Passes 7-0. Councilmember Lynch.
I move to award the contract for the Garden City Fire Boiler and Radiant Heat Replacement to Allied Building Service Company of Detroit in accordance with the posted bid packet using CDBG funds, and to authorize the city manager to enter into a contract with Allied Building Service Company of Detroit in the amount of $48,800.
Who is that support from? Okay, support from Councilmember Kerwin. Any comments from the table? From the general public? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Item 4, ordinance for marijuana establishments.
Mayor,
Councilmember Jacobs.
I move to introduce an ordinance of the City of Garden City providing for a prohibition upon marijuana establishments within its boundaries except for those permitted under Garden City Code of Ordinances, and to call for a public hearing for Monday, November 19th, 2018.
Support.
Support from Councilmember Lynch. This is just calling for the public hearing. We'll have discussion on this on that night. Anybody have comments on the public hearing, the date or time? General public? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none, that passes 7-0. Item 5, permission to write a grant for a new 75-foot ladder truck for the fire department.
Mayor,
Councilmember Jacobs.
I move to grant permission to the fire department to write for a new 75-foot ladder truck that requires a 10% match of the city, and to authorize the city manager to execute all necessary documents related to this grant.
Support.
Support from Councilmember Squires. Comments from the table. I'd like to say our employees are fantastic at writing grants. So the last fire truck we got, it cost roughly $350,000, and we got $300,000 in grant money, and the city only had to pay $50,000. So we got a $350,000 fire truck for $50,000, and now we're going to write one for a 75-foot ladder truck. That'd be fantastic if we get it. But we got some good grant writers. Any other comments from the table? From the general public? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Item 6, DPS Vactor Sewer Jet Replacement Truck.
Mayor,
Councilmember Earl.
I'd like to approve the purchase of a Freightliner 4x2 Vactor combination sewer and catch basin cleaner from Jack Doney Companies of Northville, Michigan, in the amount of $394,679, as well as supplemental appropriation of funds from retained earnings.
Support.
Support from Councilmember Kerwin. This is those big Vactor trucks that suck all the leaves out of the sewer manholes. They also water jet and blast out a plugged up sewer line. This is replacing a 1991 Vactor truck, 27 years old. So I think we got our money's worth out of it. This is also being paid for out of the water fund. People ask, well, that's the reserves in our water fund when you pay your water bill. We have to have reserve money for various items. Water loss. What's water loss? When you have a water main break, that water that's bubbling on the street, we have to pay for that. It came through the meter. When it entered Garden City from Detroit, we owe, even though it's a water main break, we have to pay for that water in Detroit. When there's a fire and they hook up to a fire hydrant and they're spraying water on the house, that's water loss. When they dig up the road for a water main break and then they got to replace the sod and the grass, the dirt, the pavement, the pipe, that's all reserve money. So people are asking how this truck's getting paid for. It's getting paid for from the water fund, which we have that money in reserves. And that's critical to running the water department, to keep our sewers maintained. Any other comments from the table? From the general public? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that passes 7-0. Item 7, Evidence-Based Disease Prevention Program.
Mayor?
Councilmember Lynch.
I move to approve the contract amendment for the Evidence-Based Disease Prevention Tai Chi Grant and authorize the Community Resources Director to execute all necessary documents.
Support.
Support. I'm going to ask our Community Resource Director, Monica, to come up and explain this. Again, this is with grant money too. This will not cost the city anything. I love it when we get grant money.
This isn't quite so fascinating, you know, it's a very small amount, but this is clearing up some paperwork. The Senior Alliance has reallocated some funding, and so there's actually 3 agenda items, but for the Tai Chi, we're getting an additional $552. No, I'm sorry, that's for the arthritis exercise. And for the Tai Chi, we're actually reducing that contract by $176, which is going into the arthritis exercise. So there's a net plus that's going into the Evidence-Based Disease Prevention Program grant. So that's those 3 agenda items.
Okay. Hang tight. You can explain the next one. You want to just explain the next one before we get there?
So the next one, is that the Tai Chi, or which one did we just do?
Arthritis.
Arthritis, right.
That's grant money as well.
Yeah, that's grant money as well. So the Senior Alliance has additional funding that other programs didn't use, as well as the money that we were unable to utilize for the Tai Chi program, and that is being added to the arthritis contract because that program is just going gangbusters. So that will cover all of the costs that for that program. When we even added a second class to the week, so that's great.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments on this from the table? No. From the general public? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that passes 7-0. Somebody want to make a motion for the number?
I'll go for the second one.
Second one? Go ahead.
I move to approve the contract amendment number 2 for the Senior Alliance Evidence-Based Disease Prevention Arthritis Exercise Grant and authorize the Community Resources Director to execute all necessary documents.
Support.
Support from Councilmember McCarge. Any other comments on this from the table, from the general public? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that passes 7-0.
And I might as well do the final one.
Might as well do this. Go ahead.
I move to approve the supplemental appropriation to the general fund, increasing revenues and expenditures in the amount of $376 for the Senior Alliance Evidence-Based Disease Prevention Grants.
Support.
Support from Councilmember Squires. Any other comments from the table? from the general public? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes 7-0. And our last one is number 8, the bid award for youth baseball field improvements. This is also grant money from the Wayne County Parks. So we got some good grant money things going on here.
Mayor?
Councilmember Earl.
I move to award the bid to Performance Sports Turf of Howell, Michigan in the amount of $15,800 utilizing grant money from the Wayne County Parks Millage and to authorize the Parks and Rec Director to execute all necessary documents.
Support.
Support from Councilmember Jacobs. Any comments from the table? From the general public? Mr. Plamond? Yeah.
It's a two-part topic.
Good evening. Well, first off, I want to thank Councilman Earl and everyone for supporting the initial proposal on the for the work to commence for the ball field improvement. Included in the bid, the RFP that we put out, we did ask vendors to give a supplemental price to add a what's called an infield conditioner to basically enhance the performance of the infield. Aesthetically, it makes the field look well. It helps the field recover faster after a long rain. We've been able to do this work at the 3 large diamonds at City Park over the last few years. We've done that just in stages. So we've asked both vendors to provide that price. In the bid packet is an alternate price on top of the $15,800 of $17,250. This is above and beyond the grant amount that we got through Wayne County Parks. I have a gentleman here tonight named Brett Roberts from the company that we've worked with in the past. He works hand in hand with the company that we awarded the bid tonight to talk about that product if there's any questions. The product is called Turfus MVP, and it's used on municipal parks and rec fields. I believe the Comerica Park uses it, if I'm not mistaken, but it is a highly recommended product that would make the fields at Moeller look very well, play well, recover well after a hard rain, in addition to the 2 fields at Moeller. So tonight we're asking council for someone to make a motion, and this money would have to come from contingency, as it is not a budgeted item.
Okay. Do we want to bring this gentleman up to explain?
Sure, absolutely.
Well, we got to vote on the first motion first, on the grant.
All right, thanks, Mr. Plamondon. Thank you, everyone, for having me. As Dan said, I work for a company. We distribute Turfus MVP. A little bit about the product. It's an infield conditioner, a calcined clay product. When you get heavy rains, it's going to absorb the rain better, make that field more playable quicker, less lost practice time, less lost games, keep on schedule with everything there. It's a smoother surface, more playable, less bad bounces out there in the infield, which to baseball players is important, obviously. Less compaction because the conditioner will be lightly tilled into the infield mix, improving the physical structure. So it's going to improve the long-term vitality of the fields. Aesthetically pleasing, if that matters to you at all. It's going to look very nice. What else do I have written down? Lastly, the biggest thing with baseball in spring and fall is we get a lot of rain in this area. After heavy rainfall events, you're going to be out there playing quicker. And that's usually what people are looking for out of a good conditioner. So happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, and this work's going to be done in the spring?
Have to confirm with Dan, but I believe it would be conducted with the field work here in the next.
Yeah, we're looking to roll this out
month.
this week.
This week?
Mayor?
Councilmember Curran?
Because we just got this tonight.
Yeah.
I am all for having the ball fields done. I'm very for that. I'm just curious of the 17,000, where that's going to come from.
Yeah. Yeah. Council doesn't like surprises. I mean, we like our packet. We like to, why don't we, my recommendation is we approve the grant one that's on the agenda and then get us the information at the next meeting for this additional. We're not comfortable approving something where we didn't really see all the material on it.
So I have to apologize. This, and I don't want to interrupt the the process of the packet. This information was submitted to the office that puts the packet together. It didn't make the agenda for some reason I'm unaware of. I intended, this was submitted last Tuesday, so it should have been in the packet. It didn't make the packet. I believe it was a mistake. So I apologize that did not get in your hands
And I understand
sooner.
that, but we still didn't get it.
Sure, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. So.
Shouldn't we have had a separate motion, separate
Yeah.
packet for the 17,000?
Sure, I understand.
And we only got it for the first part.
So we can have that for the next meeting on the second one, okay?
I do just want to add that if the original motion, it was approved, right? Did we vote on the original motion?
We haven't voted yet.
Okay, all right.
We brought you up to speak on it.
Okay.
It will probably be approved.
Okay, all right, very good.
I have a question, just because I feel the same way, that we need more information. Just curious, if we did the first part of this project, could you do the second, the next spring? Or is it everything has to be done at one time?
Well, we're going to do it within the realm that we're allowed to do it. So if we can only do the original scope right now, we'll proceed with that and we'll get that work done. Will there be some added on costs, very minor, to deploy the same equipment? There will be. I don't think it'll be a big line item to deploy that equipment out. It would be more ideal to have it all done in one setting while we have good weather, was what we were hoping for. And I do apologize that information was not in your packet, for you to review over the weekend. That was my hope. But we can still roll out the original work as discussed.
Okay.
May I make a suggestion? If this ever happens again, you have our emails. You could email us information so we have it to review over the weekend.
Okay, any other comments from the table? From the general public?
The only thing is, if you're going to start doing this project and you're going to wait to finish it with the other project, ain't that going to make a mess? They're going to be working on the infill with this one, the one you've got before you now, and then later you're going to come back and work on the infill again with the additional work.
This is just something we're going to talk about. We just got this information.
Yeah, we don't
I
have the
understand you just got the information, but that doesn't change the process. The process is he's going to try to infill up now and do this, and then if the other one does come back and you do approve it, you're going to try to infill up again to do the second process, which makes no sense.
It can be done two separate processes. I appreciate what you're saying. I agree to a point, but you're talking about field conditioning. It's a different item than what we're talking about in the
And
first
we're still
part.
talking 2 weeks from now. They still have time. The rest of October, November.
Yeah.
So we got time. Anybody else? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that passes 7-0. At this time, open up public comments for items that were not on the agenda. If you wish to speak, come up to the podium, state your name. There's a 3-minute time limit. Again, to remind you, it's not the time to go back and forth with council members. It's your opportunity to make a comment or a statement. We will answer on our roundtable if we can. If not, we'll get you the answer. Anybody wishing to speak under public comments? Okay, city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. My trusty colleague has a number for us here. So the budget is $474,000 for the lighting. So we'll call it even. All right, so a couple other construction projects going on. Hubbard, James, and Cambridge. One thing, so all the residents know, is the blacktop asphalt's usually laid down in 2 sections. Usually the rough one. Still work can be done around sidewalks and some other things can be done once that base is down. We received a number of calls at City Hall this past week about different projects that seem to be pretty rough yet because the top coat has not been finished yet. So Hubbard, James, and Cambridge this next week. By next week, we're expecting all 3 to receive their final coating. CI Contracting, they're responsible for the cleanup restoration of the site, which is sod replacement and some other things around the areas of construction. They are also the same contractor who did Craig last year, which in response to Mayor Pro Tem's request last week about going back and checking it, they actually do have a warranty for up to 2 years. So they'll be back down there in the next week or so as they finish some of Hubbard and these other two areas. They will be going down to catch up what Mayor Pro Tem mentioned last meeting, is to fix some of the sod down in Craig area. Marquette Avenue concrete sectioning. Most of that work is done at this point. One of the lanes is still closed down as the concrete cures. Takes a few days. Maplewood parking lot. The base course is down. That's one of those examples. Some people have thought it was fully open at this point. It's just the base at the Maplewood parking lot right now. And we're expecting in the next week or so would be the second course, which will be the topping, and then Maplewood would be complete. It's actually going to be done similar with the other roads. That's why it'll be into the next week. Joint and crack sealing throughout the city, started in the east, going to the west. Most of that should be completed by November, weather dependent, and of course then we'll start locking down when it comes to the snow, which apparently it snows in Michigan, I've been told. Spray patching, depending on the weather, we're looking at Muller from Ford to Birch Lawn, and then Henry Ruff from Marquette to Barton, including the Marquette intersection. Spray patching is what you may have seen in some areas. There's larger gaps, there's some stone. It seems a lot of stone when it's first down. That is swept up by our street sweepers, and it's right now it's a great way to keep a road going. If it's too large for crack sealing, but too small for a full replacement, that's spray patching you've seen on a number of roads. And then Craig water main is complete at this point. We are fully in service. So road design for projects in the spring, early stages right now. We're in the surveying and the bid document area. Concrete sectioning program, and that's throughout the city. We're looking at two different, $2 million worth, 2 years worth, I believe 2 years at least, maybe not 2 million solid. That's being bid out, and we're preparing the specs, and the project will be ready to be bid out fully in the next couple of weeks. So that'll be preparing us for the next 2 years from our bond money that was passed when it comes to concrete sectioning and what we're going to be doing. So we will know for the next 2 years in the next month or so. And bid out, be ready to go by April as soon as the weather turns. That's the first piece that's already in place. So we're looking good. I'm excited about the spring. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember McCarge.
The chili cook-off was really awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, there were so many people there, and it was just fun. And what a great event. It went smoothly, thanks to the DDA and all the volunteers and everyone who helped with that. I do have some questions, not to be answered tonight, just if you can get some answers. An update on the sidewalk program,
yep,
how that is going. Also, I know that I'd like to see the contract for the fire marshal. And you answered my question on Maplewood, and the only other thing...
There won't be much of it's not a separate contract for the fire marshal. They're still under the fire department contract.
Right. No, I know.
Okay.
I'd like to see that portion of it, or the whole thing, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just interested
Sure.
in that. And then I'd like a report on how the DPS position is, director position is going. So just questions this time.
Yep, that one, just so you know, we did expand it for 2 more weeks, so it's still open at this point, but we'll have more information for you, absolutely.
Thank you. That's it.
Okay. Councilmember Kerwin.
I also have a couple questions that don't need to be answered tonight, but I wanted to make sure that we're still currently working on the vacancy ordinance.
Vacancy ordinance? Yep.
Also, which I hate to bring up, but after the several months and meetings for the lighting ordinance, I haven't seen much change.
Yes.
And I want to make sure that the ordinance officer is out there and see how compliant things are being.
Yep.
Like I said, I haven't seen anything change.
Yeah, thank you, Councilwoman, and I didn't either. We just videotaped everything so we know what is what. We have the historical documents, so someone shows up now and says, "Oh, the lights have been up forever." They have not been. Chief and I talked the other day about it. We did send that letter out. We gave everybody a few weeks to catch up with any issues they have on their building, their lights, the signage. We gave them even some extra time since then. As I drive down the street, I see very little change, if any, by many of the violators at this point. So as Chief and I talked about, we also have an additional person helping with code enforcement, compliance, and then enforcement are going to be making that trek down the streets and start correcting the issues, which lighting is the most obvious one out there. So I appreciate you bringing it to our attention that it hasn't been done yet, and it will be. But I'm not pleased with what I was hoping for, a lot of businesses to come in compliance on their own, especially when we tell them, here's the rules of the game, which we did by mail directly to them. Some were handed out actually down Ford Road by Shippey, Officer Shippey, but you don't see a lot of compliance, so we will be coming down the street soon. So,
And then
thank you.
the last note is the chili cook-off. What a wonderful event. It just gets better and better every year. I couldn't show up until later in the evening, and it was still hopping. So I thank you to everybody who put that on. Amazing event. And that's it for me.
Okay. Councilmember Lynch.
I'll start with the chili cook-off. It was awesome. The police and fire open houses were great this year. I mean, they're always good, and I'm glad the police department has joined in with them on it, because that was just a great time to be able to visit both departments and then head over to the chili cook-off and eat chili, but the one with the ghost peppers in it sure did get to me. So next year, I'll have to leave that one off my list. I wanted to remind people that the library is having their used book sale this week, and I believe it's Thursday, but I'm not sure. Books by the bag. It's either Wednesday or Thursday, and I forgot to write it down. So that's this week. And then right around the corner, we're going to be voting. And I don't think we have another meeting prior to the election. So people that have questions regarding especially the proposals, doesn't matter which proposal it is, call someone and ask about it. Don't just not vote because you don't understand it, or say yes or no just because I don't get it, I'm voting no. Find out what the proposals are all about, please. And then vote to the best of your knowledge as to how you want it to play out. Don't just not vote for it, or don't just vote any old answer for it. Find out, as well as look into each one of the candidates. There is nothing that says you have to vote for every single category. If you're unsure about somebody, if you don't know anybody in that category, it's okay that you skip a category. Vote for the people that you have full faith and confidence in. Don't just vote to vote. And then I want to make a comment for next week, Monday, because we're not here, and wish my grandson a happy first birthday. And that's it.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Jacobs?
Yeah. First off, thanks, Mr. Doherty, for getting me that info on the grass replacement. Again, congratulations to Fire Marshal FINNEREN for being the fire chief. Fire Marshal.
Don't promote him that quick.
Sorry, Chief, we haven't replaced you yet.
Sorry, Kathy. We have a box for you.
And then finally, next Saturday, November 3rd, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the parking lot, City Hall parking lot out front, is Community Shred Day. We will have the mobile Secretary of State for those that have been here in the past. I think it's up to 6 months in advance. You can renew your stuff and save a lot of time in line. We'll also have prescription drug disposal, pills only, no liquids, no needles, but the old pills that are sitting in the house, you can get rid of those safely. We will also be taking home pantry food donations, non-perishable foods, toiletries, and cash donations for our home pantry. And you come in off of Central from Ford Road, there'll be a line, there'll be volunteers out in the parking lot, it's usually in and out. If you want to watch your papers get shredded, you can do that. It's usually a few hundred cars come in, and it's a good way to clear some clutter at your house and get rid of old stuff. The chili cook-off was it was a lot of fun. There was a lot of good chili. A little biased toward the one that didn't win, but we'll try again next year. So, but other than that, it was a great event. A lot of people. We had a lot of fun. So that's all I have.
No other comments from somebody else that didn't win?
Well, you know, apparently it was a bad week for state and chili.
Councilmember Squires.
Just a couple of things. Congrats to Orin Mazzoni and his family on 85 years. in the city. That's pretty remarkable. Also to Brian FINNEREN on becoming our new fire marshal. He's got his work cut out for him. I know that's for sure. We've been wanting one for quite some time. And also, we're getting ready for the Santaland Parade. And we happen to have our new Santaland ugly sweater sweatshirts that are pretty ugly, but they are on sale. They will be on sale at Maplewood and at City Hall, and they are $25 each, and it's a fundraiser for our parade, which is all done by donations. Also, we have some vintage hoodies left from previous years that are on sale also at Maplewood and City Hall, and those are on sale for $15 each. So make sure you get your ugly sweatshirt for the parade. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Earl.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I want to say we have Halloween coming up, so please slow down, pay attention. We're going to have a lot of kiddies running around excited to be getting candy. We really need to focus more on slowing down at the bus stops, and now the school's in session. We have kids walking to and from the schools and the buses, so please, everybody, remember, it's your duty when you're driving your vehicle to pay attention for everybody walking on the road. I'd like to thank Brad and our city manager for a tour of the DPS yard. We approved that new vac tonight, and I can tell you, walking through the yard, there's a lot of equipment that's in need of repair, in need of replacement, but they are making a lot of headway out there. It was very informative, and I look forward to seeing the new equipment rolling out. I know we've already got some of the lights and everything else, so keep up the good work on that. Dan, thank you for addressing the fields over at Moeller. I can't wait to see what they look like. It's a long time coming, and it's going to look great. I wanted to say congratulations, as everyone else has talked about the chili cook-off, but really the neat thing is it's become a staple in the community. It's almost like the festival, and people look forward to it. So I think that's what this city excels at, is getting these events that people come out and look forward to every year. So congratulations on that, and kudos to the team. What's that? I took too many. Yeah, the PTA won't be doing that next year, but. Don't forget, Trunk or Treat is this week, and everybody be safe and have a good Halloween. Thank you.
Okay. Deputy Clerk Masti, you got anything?
First, I'd like to thank Mayor Pro Tem Jacobs for explaining Shred Day. You did a great job. We are still looking for election workers, qualified election workers. Call me. And don't forget to vote Tuesday, November 6th.
Okay. Also, I want to say the chili cook-off was a tradition that's, what, 11th year? So it's getting better each year. I also had the opportunity I got invited by the Garden City Art Association to their annual art show at the United Methodist Church last week. They've been doing this for 36 years, every October, and I got to judge. I can't draw two stickmen. But they had me go up and down the aisles and pick out the mayor's pick for the piece of art that I liked, and I did an oil painting of a barn out in the country. It was beautiful. But every October they have it. You guys should go check it out, because we got some great artists in this city, and I want to thank Carol Hines for inviting me to that. Also, Veterans Day is always on November 11th. It falls on a Sunday this year, and the school is closed. So we're going to hold our Veterans Day ceremony on Monday, November 12th at the high school O'Leary Auditorium at 11 a.m. So make sure you come out on Monday, November 12th, and support our veterans on Veterans Day. That's all I have. No further business. This meeting's adjourned. Thank you.